Hey, Professor Project team, some workouts have been announced here. I'm just going to, like I promised, I'm going to cover event number 1 and event number 2 for the quarterfinals of the CrossFit Games qualifier here. So, workout number 1 is handstand push-ups, double dumbbells, and double unders. This workout is fast, potentially very fast. You've got 3 rounds for time of 10 strict handstand push-ups, 10 dumbbell hang power cleans, 50 double unders. So 3 rounds for time. Rest a minute, and then 3 rounds per time of something similar where you go 10 kipping handstand push-ups, 10 dumbbell shoulder to overhead, 50 double unders. Time cap's 10 minutes. So potentially this workout could be, it could go by real fast. If you do want to do this workout and you want to do a scaled version, I would recommend you could potentially use a barbell instead of the dumbbells, right? You could use a 95-pound barbell for the men or 75-pound barbell for the women. You're going to get a similar stimulus. And then obviously the handstand push-ups would be the next thing that you would scale. So instead of doing strict and kipping, you could do kipping all the way across, or you could reduce those reps. And you get a very similar stimulus, keep that 10-minute time cap. So for this workout, for most, I don't know, maybe not most people, it's going to be fast, right? So you're going to make sure you read the rules. I've been reading through them already. There's a few things you need to note. One is that you got to start behind the line, 3, 2, 1, go, run forward, do 10 strict handstand push-ups. Turn around, get behind that line. You have to stay behind that line for the cleans, and the dumbbells have to stay behind that line for the cleans as well. And so for those hang cleans, you'll need to deadlift the weight. I mean, it's a kipping bicep curl, right? And that's what I would recommend most people do. Kind of swing the dumbbells, swing them up. Make sure you hit full lockout. Make sure you push those glutes forward and make sure those knees are locked before the dumbbells come back down. And the longer that swing, the slower the rep is. The tighter you can make that swing and really pop with your hips up, the quicker those reps are going to be over. It's going to save you a little bit of time. But the workout isn't really going to be won and lost with those. It's going to be won and lost with how fast your transitions are and how good your handstand push-ups are, right? Because you do have to do 30 strict, and then you do have to do 30 kipping combined with all those shoulder to overheads at the end. So those kipping will even get hard. Even if you're pretty good at handstand push-ups, those last few kipping could be hard, because they're combined with the shoulder overhead. So really this comes down to breaking up those handstand push-ups intelligently. Don't start with 10 unbroken strict if that's not a good strategy for you. For some people, that's going to be what they're going to want to do. But just be mindful. There's nothing wrong with starting with a quick set of 5 and 5 or, 5, 3, 2. If you know that they're going to break down in those third set, you don't want to be standing around taking these huge long breaks when you went unbroken to start. So, we do a lot of handstand push-ups in the program, and so that should help you know where your limitations are at. So start with those handstand push-ups. Make sure, now this is important, historically the handstand push-up standard has been you need your palms in the target, but your fingers can go outside the line. That's not the case anymore. So your whole hand needs to stay inside the box. Now the box is just a little wider than it used to be. So it ends up being the same hand position approximately, but just make sure you know that you set up the box properly for your handstand push-ups and your hands are well within the box so you're not worrying about getting no rep. Yeah, and this one's just go pretty quick. So hit those handstand push-ups, chip away at them in the best way you can, but then once you do that, allow your heart rate to get up, allow yourself to burn up a little bit in those hang cleans and double unders, because that's where you need to go fast so you can potentially chip away at those handstand push-ups if you struggle with the strict a bit. The 1 minute rest, stay standing probably, maybe sit down real quick, but just shake those arms out, try and relax them, and then start that next session with some aggressive kipping handstand push-ups. Really try to use your legs in those handstand push-ups, the kipping in the next set, and same with the shoulder overhead. Start with push jerks, really try to relax your arms and allow those dumbbells to kind of hit your shoulder aggressively, boom, and then get them to come up because you're going to want to save those arms. You don't want to really grip those tight and be pressing really hard because then you're going to burn out. So on those kipping handstand push-ups and the shoulder overheads, really try to use your legs to drive that weight upwards. Obviously on the double unders, try not to trip. Be nice and smooth. Try to regain your breathing a little bit there. But yeah, and just try not to trip. Honestly, for most people, don't try to save time by double undering faster. Just try to save time by not tripping on your rope. So that's my tips for event 1. It's a pretty simple workout. I mean, honestly, in the Professor Project programming, I feel like we're really well prepared for this. We've been doing a lot of double unders and a lot of workouts with handstand push-ups, whether they be long workouts, short workouts, sprint workouts, medium distance workouts. So I think this prepares us really well. And you should just know where your handstand push-ups are at, give it a crack. And if you want to scale it, have fun with this one too. Keep that time cap to 10 minutes and go hard. So let's go on to event number 2. Event number 2 is a doozy. This is GHD sit-ups, rope climbs using a pinch with your feet, and pistols. Now, there's a lot of these movements. A total of 180 GHD sit-ups and 180 pistols, and then 18 rope climbs. So definitely a lot of GHD sit-ups and a lot of pistols, like a lot. This is the most GHD sit-ups I think we've ever seen in a CrossFit workout, and pretty close to the most pistols we've seen in a workout as well. So huge priority on those two movements. Make sure you warm up well. Make sure you really stretch, activate your glutes for the pistols. Make sure you really open up your front of your hip flexors for those GHD sit-ups. Do some couch stretching. Spend extra time if you can, rolling out your stomach on a ball, doing the couch stretch, just opening up so you're nice and flexible, and you can kind of like hit those nice positions on the GHD sit-up. Really trying to use your legs on the GHD sit-up. Don't just relax on the way back and try and snap up. Try and keep some tightness in the GHD sit-up as you snap up. And for the pistols, honestly, for most people, don't be in a rush on those, right? You got 180 of those long workouts, so don't feel like you need to sprint the first few. Just find a good rhythm, smooth is fast. Try and just kind of like smoothly up, down, like nice pace there, taking a break every 10 for a couple deep breaths. Don't get any no reps. Just make sure you stay in that box for your GHD sit-ups, for the pistols as well. I mean, this workout, time cap's 20 minutes, and I think a lot of people will be very close to that time cap. This is a lot of reps, right? Basically imagine yourself like, okay, I'm basically doing GHD sit-ups and pistols for like 20 minutes. So what kind of pace do I need to hold that I can just maintain? Don't come out too fast on those first 60 GHD sit-ups. Don't come out too fast on those first 60 pistols. And obviously, can't ignore the rope climbs here either. Now, usually on rope climbs, I would say, use your legs, right? Like really use your legs and try and save your arms, because typically, the limiter on a rope climb is going to be your grip and your biceps. But because in this workout, you're mostly doing GHD sit-ups and pistols, you're going to have a lot of break between those movements. You can grip a little harder and pull maybe a little more with your arms. I would just say do rope climbs how you usually do them. This isn't the time to change your technique on the rope climb, but just kind of keep that in mind. But what you do want to make sure you do on the rope climb is try and keep that rope nice and close to your chest and close to your groin. The further away that rope gets, the harder it is on your core, and that difficulty on your core is going to make those GHDs even worse. So keep that rope tight. Honestly, with the rope climbs, just do them how you normally do them. Those first 6, just kind of chip away at them. And then after that, you're going to know the pace, right? Have some chalk nearby. I'm going to have chalk as soon as I get off my last GHD sit-up and I touch the pad. I'm going to step off. There's going to be a box at knee height where I'm just going to grab a chalk up and then start. And I'm just going to do that once per round. So I'm only going to chalk 4 times. But if you feel you need to chalk more than that, have some chalk nearby the rope. For this workout, I would wear something with an elevated heel because of all the pistols. Obviously, make sure whatever shoe you wear, you are comfortable doing rope climbs in that shoe. So if I really want to wear a weightlifting shoe, make sure you can do rope climbs in that weightlifting shoe. If you can't, then you're probably just gonna have to use your normal shoe, or put like a heel lift inside the sole of your shoe if you have that option, like Versa lift or something. You want that nice upright squat position for all those pistols. Make sure obviously all your pistols count. Make sure you're hitting depth. Make sure you're locking out before that alternate foot hits the ground to show you've completed the rep. And then with the GHD, you get on the GHD, you lock yourself in, and you need to make sure you touch the pad to start and then go back. Don't just lock in and go back, because the reps don't start until you touch the pad. That's the beginning and the end of the movement. In the same way as, I'm trying to think of another movement that's like that. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but you get what I mean. It's not like an overhead squat where you can just pull yourself into a squat snatch and stand up. It's like, no, you need to start touching the pad, touch the ground, and then come back up. And lastly on that workout, make sure you measure your GHD properly. If you are doing, make sure, especially if you're like, if you've qualified, make sure you measure that 40 inches for the men, 37 for the women from the top of the pad to the bottom. I'm going to be putting some weight plates on the ground that I'm going to lean back and touch because my GHD is quite high off the ground. They cover that, and just in the document, but just make sure you read through that document. Make sure you know the rules. Read through it 2-3 times. Make sure your rope is actually 15 feet. If you are going to try this one on your own, this is a doozy. Like, this is not something I would recommend to the average person to try because it's just so many GHD sit-ups and so many pistols, and those can be really hard. On your core, on your abs, on your low back, and then the pistols can be really hard sometimes on people's low backs, but usually on their knees and their hips. So, you can do a variation of this where you're doing a bunch of V snaps or maybe a bunch of toes to bar, and then doing some rope climbs or even just some like strict pull-ups. And then instead of pistols, consider doing step ups or walking lunges, or even just like an air squat or a goblet squat. And you can get a similar stimulus from this. So for most people, I would recommend that they do, probably something like, instead of 60, 50, 40, 30 GHDs, I'd say I'd cut those reps in half and do toes to bar. And then I would do the same amount of rope climbs. And then instead of 60, 50, 40, 30 pistols, I would do that number of walking lunges, right? With, maybe with a light dumbbell or even just air squats or, goblet squats. So 60 goblet squats. And even then, that's still a lot, right? That's 180 squats, which is a high rep air squat workout. Even, Murph is 300, and that's like, it's kind of crazy. So keep that in mind if you do want to do a scaled version of this, that this is a lot of reps, and just look after your health and make sure that, it's still fitting into your training plan and fitting into, your goals. But if you do want to give this a crack, I would say, scaling that to, cutting the reps in half for toes to bar, doing the rope climbs as written, or instead of 6 rope climbs, do like 12 strict pull-ups. So just do double the strict pull-ups. And then for single leg squats, you could do the same amount of reps, but an air squat or walking lunge, unweighted walking lunge with, quality pause and light knee contact to the floor. That's it. Hopefully that's enough tips for you to tackle these 2 workouts. They're pretty self-explanatory, but make sure you read the rules. And as far as the actual, the flow, they're CrossFit workouts. Don't overthink it. Attack it with how you'd usually attack a workout like this, and you'll do fine. So good luck. I got to get going. I got to get working on these workouts myself. We'll see you all on the leaderboard soon.